Welcome back to the Okefenokee Swamp Park. It's story time, and today we're going to hear a story about how Rabbit brought fire to the people. It's an old Creek Indian legend. A long time ago, when the swamp was new, it was cold. Thunderbird had powers, and he sent lightning to a sycamore tree on an island where nothing but weasels lived. And it caught the tree on fire and gave them warmth. Well, across the water were the other animals and the people, and they were cold. And they knew the weasels had fire because they could see the smoke coming up. Well, a big meeting was called, and the question was, how can we get fire from the weasels? They would not share. Well, nobody stepped forward. They were afraid because they heard that the weasels were bloodthirsty and would eat them. Well, Rabbit, he stepped forward and said, I'll go to the weasels and get some of their fire. He said, at night when it gets dark, they'll light their fire and have a dance, and I'm a good dancer. I'll go over and join their dance and steal some of their fire. Well, it started getting dark, and Rabbit got to thinking, how am I going to get that fire back to my island? I'm going to have to swim over, but then when I get it, I've got to swim back home. So he got an idea. He took his paw and he ran it down the side of a big pine tree. And he got some of that tar and rubbed it on top of his head. And he made his hair stand up really tall. Well, he jumped in the water and swam over to the island of the weasels. And the weasels greeted Rabbit. They recognized him. And one of them said, hey, Rabbit, I heard you were a good dancer. Why don't you lead us in our dance around the fire? And that was exactly what Rabbit hoped would happen. He said, sure, I'll be glad to join your dance. So he started going around the fire, and all the weasels fell in behind him, and they were going around that fire. Rabbit, he kept getting faster and faster, and the weasels were trying their best to keep up. Every now and then, Rabbit would zoom in and back up, and then he'd keep on dancing, going around the fire. And then he'd zoom in and back up, like it was part of the dance. And eventually, Rabbit, he leaned in so low, he caught some of that fire up on top of his head, in his hair, and he took off and jumped in the water and swam as hard as he could for home. Well, the weasels were furious. One of them hollered, hey, that rabbit, he has stolen our sacred fire. Somebody catch that rabbit and throw him down. Well, Rabbit huffed and puffed and swam as hard as he could, got to the other side, and just as he did, Thunderbird made it start to rain. Now, why do you think Thunderbird made it rain? To put out the fire. Well, as soon as it started raining, Rabbit went straight for a tree where in the bottom of it was a little cave. They call that the hollow of the tree. And he hid in the hollow of that tree the whole time it rained. After 3 days, it stopped. And when it did, out came the rabbit. He still had that fire going, and he proudly gave it to the other animals and the people. And now they could stay warm too. Now let's see if you learned something about life from the story. True or false? Rabbit was brave. All right, here's another one. Rabbit had a plan. All right, last one. It's a good idea to put pine tar and fire in your hair. All right, I hope you answered true, true, and false. Glad you were with us today.